Here.
Commissioner Ghosts are also here. If you would stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance, the flag is behind you. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, a public hearing. I'd like to open a public hearing for the 60 last zoning district amendment application ZBA-01-23. Is there anybody in the room that would like to speak on or against the 60 last zoning district amendment application ZBA-01-23? Or again, how about online? Last call in the room or online? Commissioners entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I know move.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 4, comments from the public. Does anybody want to make a public comment? And if you would, if you just let us your name, that would be perfect. Please, Anita, thank you.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you very much. I just would like to introduce our new maintenance superintendent. This is Anthony Brown. This is Anthony Brown. He began working for the county yesterday, and we're excited to have him aboard. He's been shadowing Roy since yesterday. So you want to say anything?
Yeah, I think I met most of you, Anthony Brown. I've been with the school district as a maintenance supervisor past 11, almost 12 years, and I'm excited to join the team.
We're glad to have you.
Well, they're still angry about you coming over to us. The school district, so thank you. We'll get here.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks. Any other public comments? Just you guys. How about online? Anybody want to make a comment online? Commissioners entertain a motion to close the public comment, please.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. No motion carries. Items 5, disclosures. Commissioner Jones, any disclosure?
None.
Commissioner Barrett.
I have none.
And I have none also. Item 6, considerations of changes on the agenda. All right. Oh, look at the changes coming.
Sorry. Good morning, commissioners. I would like to add an agenda item. Judge Stanford would like to submit a name for approval as a part-time magistrate for Albany County Circuit Court. And Wyoming statute 59210 requires this board to either approve or reject that name. And then if that person is approved, then they will be appointed by the circuit court as a part-time magistrate. The person he is submitting is Michael Bennett.
Okay. Is anybody going to appear on that at all? Okay, so,
Everybody else is in court this morning.
all right, how about 33A?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Gracie, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman. Item 26. I forgot we had to advertise rules before they can be officially adopted. So I would like to see it read, accept the rules and direct the clerk to advertise and set a public hearing for the 45 days, which I will be out, so July 9th or 18th.
Okay, and obviously we get rid of the top. Okay.
Because we can't do that quite yet.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Morning, commissioners. So after late yesterday afternoon, I got an email from Wyoming Energy Authority. We've done a Wildlight grant through them. I don't know, a couple times over the past 5 years, and with the discussion we had at the department head meeting, I wanted to bring this to your attention, have a discussion on how you'd like me to pursue this year. Last year we did apply for the fairgrounds, however, it wasn't approved. It's kind of one of those that we won't get every year, and we had it the year before to do this building. So I just want to have a discussion on how you guys like me to move forward with that.
You care where it goes in the.
It can go at the end, I'll.
Okay, 33B then. Any other changes? Here's item 7, approval of the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, then fine. Carries. Item 8. Discuss the Boswell Wind Energy Project. Ellen, are you here? Nice. Come on up, Ellen. Welcome.
Ben can try to share her presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ellen, while we wait, would you just kind of introduce?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I know you guys have a full agenda. So my name is Ellen Bird. I'm with Interjex Renewable Energy. We're the developers, owners, operators of the Boswell Springs Wind Project. And I do community and local government relations for the company. So thank you for having us here to present on the project and to provide an update. I'm joined by my colleagues, and if they could just quickly introduce themselves, then I guess just quickly say hello.
Michael Paul, senior coordinator on the environment team.
And Madison Walsh, I'm a specialist within that team.
I'm Samuel Richard, I'm PM for the project. Jason Sorrell, site representative.
And I'm Tom Darren, I'm government relations.
Here, Virginia Rodriguez, I'm Vice for Community and Government Relations for Interjex for Wyoming. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And Jason, the fellow in black, he'll be on site during, so he's our boots on the ground for anything needed. So
Awesome. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for coming.
so the intention here is just to provide an overview, introduce ourselves and the project. Just go to the next slide. Thank you. So just a little background on who we are. We're a company. We've been in operation for over 30 years. We've got operating projects across Canada, France, and right here in the States. Our projects are all renewable energy, so they're wind, solar, hydro, or more recently battery storage as well. Yeah, and then so the project itself, I'll just here is Rock River, over here is Medicine-Bow, and if you go up Fetterman Road, this is the project site here. So it's a 330 megawatt project. It'll have approximately almost 100 wind turbines on it. And we're going to be starting kind of major construction mid-June. It's located on approximately 21,000 acres of land, but the actual footprint will be much smaller because they're tall, thin structures. So it's private land, it's used for ranching, and ranching will be able to continue once construction is completed. It will connect to the Pacific Core freeze-up substation over here, just west of Medicine-Bow. And it's being connected by what we call the last mile transmission project. It's 34.5 miles. And we analyzed over a dozen routes to make sure that we try to avoid as many impacts as possible. So it crosses both counties, and the project itself, and the purpose of this transmission line obviously is to connect the project into Pacific Coast grid. The reason that we split into two separate projects is because they had different permitting and development timelines, and now going into construction, they have different construction timelines. The last mile already started construction in January or February because of weather events, and Jason can probably speak to that a bit more. But the construction, as mentioned, for the wind project won't start until June. And it's expected to generate approximately 1,160 gigawatt hours per year. So that's the equivalent of about 113,000 Wyoming households. And it's expected also to contribute at least $119 million in tax revenues. The next slide. So here's the site itself. I know it's hard to see, but these little dots represent the turbines. This again is Fetterman Road, this is Palmer Canyon. And as you can see, even though the site is quite big, the actual footprint and the road is going to is much smaller. This site was chosen because it's flat and it has a good wind resource. And Madison will speak in a few minutes to that we try to avoid or mitigate environmental impacts with the project. It's also a fairly remote site. That's all I have. Yeah, I will pass it over to Madison and then, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so a number of environmental studies have been done for the project since 2015. These have been done through desktop analysis, public consultation, as well as field reconnaissance. And so these provide a baseline understanding of the project area to inform our permit applications, such as the investment setting division permits and LEX permit, as well as site components. So a number of studies are listed up there: wildlife surveys, cultural and ecological resources, the commissioning recommendation, wetlands and stream identification. Nice little suite of studies. Next slide, please. So the findings and recommendations from these studies are used to assess our avoidance and mitigation strategies, identify any design limitations, and refine our permitting criteria. So our strategy around environmental constraints kind of revolves around our avoid, minimize, mitigate approach. So our first step would be to avoid any sensitive resources. So I'll use the example of any avian resources. So we have a baseline knowledge of known and historic nest locations. So we would avoid by siting any of our components away and providing buffers. We minimize by adhering to any seasonal clearing restraints for vegetation, just to avoid any impacts from us again. And then finally, we would mitigate by, in the event that we have an individual spotted on site, we would have on-site support by a qualified biologist in order to provide any steps to protect that individual.
So the project's gonna last for the next 2 years. Essentially, we started in January, February with the transmission lines. We have a contractor on site that's receiving the components. They're gonna ramp up work in the next couple of weeks as winter is now behind us. Come June, we're gonna be mobilizing with the main contractor for the wind park itself. So this year is gonna be dedicated to road access, collector system being installed, foundations being poured. Then next year, we're gonna have the turbines show up and we're gonna start erecting them. The goal is to have the project online and commissioned by the end of 2024. Wait. So really roughly, those are the phases that we're gonna go through. So basically some road work and foundation and collectors. So 1, 2, 3 is going to be happening in 23. Turbine installation, as I said, is going to be 2024. The electrical substation, which is going to be located in the center of the project, is going to be initiated or started this year, finished next year. And then commissioning is going to be done in the fall of 2024, just before we're commercially operational. So next. So what to expect during construction? Obviously some increased traffic on Fetterman and on the highway, as well as the dust associated with this. So we do have a road use agreement in place that we just signed that's going to contemplate some improvement on the road as well as maintenance and dust control. So that's going to be done through construction. And of course, hunting is going to be prohibited on the area where we're going to be building for safety reason with our people being working over there. We're also going to have, and we have already an email address should we have any questions. So the question is going to be directed to the appropriate people internally, and we're going to be providing answers as quickly as we can. Thanks. So the equipment itself, as I said, the turbine are going to be starting delivery in May 2024. So we're talking about 100 turbines, roughly 12 trucks per turbine. Their turbine, those turbines are 550 feet high, not exactly sure how that compares to the turbine in the neighborhood, but we can definitely get back with you on comparison status. The blades are gonna be 225 foot long, and they're gonna come in two parts for ease of transportation. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Please. Oh, sorry. We'll change it up. All right, so we've got a local procurement policy which strives to hire locally as much as possible. So the construction on the last mile is approximately 25 people. For Boswell itself, actually, I need to correct that, it's a typo, but it's 150 to 200 full-time equivalent employment full-time equivalent jobs over the 17-month construction period, and there would be more at the peak of construction. So the general contractor will work to fill the bulk of these positions, if possible, locally and with in-state labor. And operationally, it would be approximately 10 people full-time. Okay, and next.
Yeah, just quickly on reclamation. So the project will adhere to any reclamation standards set in our agreements with the landowner and our permits, including the large construction stormwater permit with the DEQ. As I mentioned, we have road use and maintenance agreements, so county roads will be upgraded and repaired for those agreements. Once construction is complete, any temporary roads and laydown areas will be removed, the soil will be decompacted and it will be reseeded. Any permanent access roads will be narrowed and graded. Turbines will have a permanent gravel pad for access and maintenance, and will have a radius of 16 feet out from the base. And branching and other activities may resume over any buried collector line during operations.
Just to be clear, the permanent roads being narrowed to the 17 feet, that would be the property owner, right?
Those are private.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Just wanna make sure.
All the improvements on Finland will be left.
That's,
And then one last.
thank you.
So just last slide about community benefits. There is mentioned about 119 million in tax revenue. So that's broken into 65 million in property tax, 34 million in wind generation tax, and at least 20 million in sales and use tax. And the industrial siting board has allocated certain amounts for impact assistance payments. And I believe the amount for Albany County is about 2.5 million. We also have partnership agreements with those who we've leased land from, so they'll be receiving at stable annual revenue for the life of the project. Infrastructure investments for transmission and for roads such as Fetterman Road, and community investment donations for local groups and clubs. And yeah, we aim to be a good long-term neighbor and member of the community. So we wanted to introduce ourselves, provide our contact information, and have hopefully like a long-term relationship with you folks. I also did want to mention we're having an open house tomorrow night in Rock River. I think we're expecting a fairly good turnout, and we're all invited as well if you'd like to come. So if you have any questions, we're here. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Commissioner, any questions?
So the energy being produced will be used for Wyoming households?
So we don't, we're not responsible for where it goes. PacifiCorp is acquiring the power, it goes into the grid, and it'll go to where there is need for the energy. So it could go to households, it could go to businesses, but that number, the 113,000 household, it's the equivalent of. So it produces the amount of energy that would power that many households, but it's up to PacifiCorp to allocate the electrons to where there's the most need for the power.
As far as lighting, I was not here when this was cited, and I don't suspect anybody else was. Maybe. Do you have the approach lighting system, or is it continual flashing of red lights at night?
Very good approach.
No, we are required with our industrial siting division permit to install the aircraft detection lighting system. So that will be installed.
And then with regard to the setbacks from nests, did you differentiate between gold eagles and ball windows as far as? And then what are those setbacks?
Oh, yeah, more specifically for eagles, so we have a couple bald and golden eagle nests at the southwest portion of the property. Fish and Wildlife Services revised their guidance to 2 miles, and so we're honoring that for those. And then we also have a swings and sock, which I believe is a 1 mile buffer at the northeast corner of the site. So in regards to those buffers specifically, that's what we're abiding by.
Okay. We do have some expert opinion that golden eagle need twice that. But I guess that's Fish and Wildlife Service. If there is a take, you guys have a take permit for the number of eagles that could be killed.
Yeah, so we don't have one in hand, but we've submitted our application as of last December, and so that's our understanding is fairly typical right now with Fish and Wildlife Service, since they're just starting to issue these, is that they kind of have a backlog. And so since we finalized the design, we're moving forward with finalizing our eagle conservation plan and EA to support the eagle take permit. So we should be submitting that within a month or so.
And then my final question on that line is, if it ends up taking a lot of bats and birds, do you have any other ideas about what you might put in? You know, I know there are those cameras that can turn off specific windmills on occasion, you know, to scan the skies. Have you thought about that? Is that part of the plan? Is that not part of the plan?
I think it's something that we've certainly considered, but as part of the Eagle Conservation Plan, there is some language in there in regards to adaptive management measures that we'll work with the Fish and Wildlife Service on.
Fish and Wildlife Service would have stayed at 5 miles. That would have been nice. Anybody else have any other questions? Thank you so much for your presentation, and that is tomorrow night, Rock River.
Yeah, it's going to be drop-in style, so it's between 5:30 and 7:30, and we'll have a number of posters there, and our team will be there. Yeah,
And
but
what
it's
place?
at the Rock River Town Hall.
At Town Hall, 5:30 to 7:30 tomorrow night.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, item 9. Present for consideration, the 60 last zoning district amendment application, DBA 01-23. Joe, good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. All right, the applicant is Journey Resource Services LLC on behalf of 60 Last LLC. This is located at 276 Iroquois Street and 4137 Fort Buford Lane. The request is to change zoning from small lot residential to commercial. And access, western parcel can be accessed from Iroquois Street and the eastern parcel can be accessed from Fort Buford Lane. There were some reviews that we've received. Most had no concerns other than Laramie Rivers Conservation District. She had comments regarding the soils and erosion. Her full comments can be seen in the review section. The applicable section of the Albany County zoning resolution is chapter 3, section 5. Findings necessary for approval pursuant to Albany County zoning resolution chapter 3, section 5G. The Board of County Commissioners must make the following findings. The applicant has provided such maps or surveys as required. The proposed zoning district amendment generally follows suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan, including but not limited to the long-range growth plan and the priority growth areas. And that the applicant has demonstrated that the proposed zoning district amendment complies with all of the following criteria, as well as pursuant to chapter 3, section 5D of the Albany County zoning resolution. The applicant has provided the required notice by posted sign, publication, and certified mailing. A little bit of history on the parcel. In 1997, when the zoning was first adopted within Albany County, the zoning for these two parcels was residential unplatted land. In 2015, when the first major amendment to the zoning resolution took place and adopted the first zoning map, the zoning for these parcels was changed to small lot residential. As of now, in 2023, the zoning for these parcels has remained small lot residential. Staff analysis. The applicant has addressed the potential impacts the zoning district amendment may cause and has provided a complete application. The planning department believes that the proposed zoning district amendment generally follows the suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan. These properties are currently zoned as small lot residential, and a change to commercial is compatible with existing land use of surrounding properties. Findings of fact, the findings necessary for approval and applicant responses referenced in this report are adopted as findings reflecting that the applicant has adequately addressed the specified impact and the same are incorporated herein. Conclusion of law, the applicant is proceeding in accordance with and is in compliance with the requirements of the Albany County zoning resolution. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussion, the March 15th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the neighbors. Public comment regarding the want to keep the property zoned residential. The request by the neighbor was not because they are worried about the applicant suddenly changing their use, but the fact that changing it to commercial opens up a lot more uses in the future. The application was tabled until the April 12th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. At that meeting, they unanimously voted to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the 60 last zoning district amendment application ZDA 0123, adopting and incorporating the staff analysis, findings of fact, and conclusions of law as each are stated in the staff report.
Thank you, Joe. Commissioners, any questions? Well, I would entertain a motion for item 9 then, please.
I think we have a comment.
No comment?
Okay,
I'm just here representing the owner.
Okay.
okay. I thought you were gonna make.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's somebody on.
Is there anybody on
Mine.
Zoom who'd like
Yeah.
to? Oh, Steve, your hand's up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to ask, we were let into the meeting a little bit late. Have we already missed the public hearing, and is this the appropriate time to talk?
The public hearing was closed, but go ahead. You are more than welcome to talk, Steve.
Okay, my spouse, Crystal Hammaker, is also on here. I'm hoping that she'll be able to access the Zoom, but I'll be brief. We just want to register our objections to the zoning change. My personal interest is my father-in-law owns a property just to the south of the area where the zoning change is being requested. 25 years ago, when that zoning was applied, these were perfect small lot rural residential areas. This is the area where my wife grew up. Perfect place for 4-H animals right next to the fairgrounds, couple horses. Unfortunately, what's happened over the last 2 decades is illegal use of the property to the north. Mr. Ortega, the previous owner, moved into town and started using the property for his heavy equipment, his construction company, and eventually used it to bury construction waste out there right next to the property that my family is representing. Unfortunately, over 2 decades, that was never enforced as improper use of zoning. We made several calls as a family and tried to get it stopped without any luck. And eventually it looks like the assessor started assessing it as commercial for tax purposes, but the zoning was never changed. It's been a battle. If you drive out there and look, I know the previous committee members see that as a blighted commercial area, but I encourage you to take another look and look at the small houses out there surrounded by some nice acreage, couple of churches. The industrial commercial area has been well developed across the highway with the economic development efforts out there. And we are hoping that you will retain the zoning on this property. And unfortunately, what I think is happening is a failure of due diligence from realtors and appearances of previous use that now, because it was purchased with the idea that it could be commercial, they're asking for a bailout. We're asking you to retain the current zoning and ask that that property return back to how it should have been if the zoning had been originally enforced. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Crystal, I see you on. Do you want to say something? Okay,
Lynn, come on.
come on up, please.
Good morning, how are you today?
Good morning.
My name is Lynn Hill. The owner, Fred Herman, asked me to be here today to represent him.
Lynn, can I have you come to the podium? I'm guessing the shot will be a little more. Thank you.
Mr. Herman did type up a brief response to this comment, and I'd like to just share that with you this morning. Quoting him, Mr. Herman, I would say that 60 Last LLC has completely cleaned up the pasture on the east side of the mobile home court and has greatly reduced the amount of rubbish on the south side of the parcel of Iroquois Road and intends to continue to clean up. Both cleanup sites are adjacent to the neighbor's property. There are similar private dumps in the area, and including on the north side of the mobile home court. And we don't see anyone else doing any cleanup. Changing the property to commercial would not change anything that has existed for decades. That is his response. He has done a number of cleanup activities out there on that property over the years.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to make a comment on or against the 60 last zoning district amendment application? Commissioners, any questions? Not either. All right, entertain a motion for item 9, and those are in your packet 1137. There's approved, deny, or table.
I move that we approve item 9 as presented. Second.
Do we need to
Incorporate
do we need
this,
to find-
the staff analysis, the findings.
Including the
And conclusion.
conclusions law findings back.
Thank you.
Second, do you agree with that?
Second, please.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you all, appreciate it. Item 10, present for approval, request for funding from 1% miscellaneous uncommitted funds for the Albany County Fairgrounds in the amount of $17,500 for livestock pens. Taylor, good morning.
Good morning. So this is part of kind of our work for some of the animal evacuation items. So this way, if we have any sort of animal evacuation, large or small, we now have room for about 500 individual animals. Of course, there'll be multiple in each pen. However, these pens will stay set up in the back half of the swine barn all year. This way we have the sheep barn set up and then we have the swine barn. The benefit to these pens being staying set up in the swine barn is that we are able to disinfect the flooring easier when we have different groups of animals coming in and out because it is full concrete. The pens that are in the sheep barn do not allow for us to move them over to the pig barn the way the pig barn was constructed. So we, the board put out an RFP, Fair Board put out an RFP. We received those back in December, and then they chose this family-owned business to construct those pens. And so basically what we were doing is looking at cost sharing with the 1% funds with the county for the use of animals at fair and during an evacuation. Just kind of having the half ownership there with the county as well.
Taylor, commissioners, any questions?
Taylor, these are in addition to the pens that we are already approved.
So no, these are totally different.
Okay.
So the items that we're in, are you talking about the rec grant?
Oh, is that what?
Because the rec grant was the wash rack. That was our part of our pathogen plan, the safety and security, and this is part of the safety and security. These pens are more safe for animals. They're more safe for humans. We don't have to visit chiropractors by the end of the week with these pens for bending down and standing up, going through the through the pens themselves. So these allow for us to put goats in there with horns so they don't injure themselves. They can't get their head through the rungs on the panel, which in turn, if they get their horns stuck, they could potentially break their skull. So these don't allow for that. They can't get their hooves stuck. Those kinds of things in the joints and the hinges.
Okay, thank you.
And the total cost on those was almost $36,000. So, and that's what the board, and then the board paid for all of the shipping, and they should be arriving in the next 2 weeks.
Commissioners, any other questions? All right, entertain a motion for item 10.
I move that we approve item 10 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
11, ratified grant application, Wyoming Department of Family Services for the TAMP CPI grant application starting October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. Bailey, good morning.
Right, so this application was due last week, so I did complete it and get it submitted last week. There was, excuse me, I did get a call from our representative at DFS in regards to it. We did just make one minor correction to what was presented, and that was this morning that I did that. Big Brothers Big Sisters had included a other request for grant administration services. The grant did not like that. They asked that we move that up to salary because I did talk to Steve Hamaker and he did say that that funding will be used towards the salary of their grant manager over at Big Brothers Big Sisters. So we just made that correction from being down below up to the salary line for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Everything else was allocate, all the allocations were from the decision that was made at the previous meeting. And I had them resubmit budgets. Any questions?
Any questions? I entertain a motion for item 11 then, please.
I move that we approve item 11 as presented. Second.
Moved in second, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 12, present for approval, budget allocations for the Wyoming Department of Agriculture 2023 Wyoming Emergency Insect Management Grant in the amount of $83,024.50. Bailey, thank you.
So there is a typo in the agenda item. It should just be $83,024 even. That kind of, you know, shows me for trying to jump ahead. During the meeting, we did get the 50 cents, but of course, when I got the letter, we didn't get the 50 cents. So I don't know what. Yeah. So I did include allocation recommendations from what I have done in the previous years. Option A shows what we would have, the percentage we would have taken if we would have gone off of the funding they all received last year. Option B would be the percentage off of what the funding was, the request was from this year. And then I do show the difference of the two and then the recommended allocation. This year, it was kind of thrown off a little bit. Rock Creek, as you know, did not put in a request for funding this year. So that did throw some numbers off. So then when you get to the last column of the recommended allocation for this funding, what I did is I took the amount that was going to Rock River, divided it up from the other, for the other 6 entities. And then that put weed and pest and public health over the requested amount this year. So then I took that difference and put it back up in the district. So it was a lot of nice fun work. And then of course, this is the time that we do request matching funds for these programs for the district. And it is just for the 2 districts. And then we do have the matching funds for the city because the grant does not allow us to be paying the city to do our monitoring from their grant funds. That does have to be for the matching funds. Any questions?
Public health just for testing?
No, public health is for like pesticides, so it like mosquito spray for the for individuals, like the off spray or like the wipes. And I know last year's Kim did like the stickers for like kids, and I don't know how well they work, but it's more of a pesticide thing. They don't do testing.
Okay.
Our testing is all done from the city of Laramie. They take care of all of that for us.
Any other questions? I'm entertaining item 12, and I guess what you'd like is Ellie to ratify, but let you know which one of the options.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, and then we also need to know what from match you guys would like to put forward. And this does usually just go in my 209 match account, so I know Kayla's waiting for it, but can't wait for the grant. So I need to know what you guys want to, what the distributions are from the grant itself and then from the match.
So what distribution do you suggest?
The one I suggest is the 2023 recommended. It's like the 3rd column from the right.
But entertain a motion.
I move that we approve item 12 as presented and approve the recommended 2023 allocations. A second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You need us to say anything about the grant match, or did that cover it?
Nope, I believe that would cover it because that is what I recommended to you as well.
Super.
And I will reach out to the districts today.
Item 13, switching gears, present for approval contract between Wyoming Department of Health, Behavioral Health Division and the Albany County Board of Commissioners as governing body for the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program to provide substance abuse treatment services as a sentencing alternative in accordance with the Court Supervised Treatment Programs Act, Wyoming State Statute 7-13-1601 through Wyoming State Statute 713-1615. in the amount of $186,146.59 from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024.
So Heather is busy this morning with our federal funders, so you guys give me. I did get these contracts rather late in the game, so Jennifer has reviewed them. And we were approved for 19 slots in our adult program, which is two more than what we've had in the past 4 years, to my knowledge. For the initial amount, we're getting $177,738.54. On top of that, we're also getting $5,395.05. That does have to go towards the testing. And then we are, what they've done this year is there's a surcharge grant that we usually get to apply for in August. But they did decide to combine it all in one, which is rather helpful. So out of the surcharge funding, for the adult program, there's $3,013. And that was, the county itself is getting $13,000 overall in surcharge funding, so it was up to Heather's discretion on how she wanted to use it between the two programs. Any questions?
Okay, motion to 13 then.
I move that we approve item 13. As presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 14, present for approval. Contract between Wyoming Department of Health, Behavioral Health Division, and the Albany County Board of Commissioners, as governing body for Albany County Juvenile Drug Treatment Court, to provide substance use disorder treatment services as a sentencing alternative in accordance with the Court Supervised Treatment Program Act, Wyoming State Statute 7-13-1601 through Wyoming State Statute 7-13-1615 in the amount of $100,004.74 from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Bailey Baker.
So juvenile, we didn't even ask for an increase in the juvenile slot, so we're getting the 6 that we've had the past few years. For the base, we're getting $88,301.04. For drug testing, we're getting $1,703.70. And then $10,000 for those surcharge funds.
Questions for Bailey?
Bailey, I don't know if you can answer this, but we haven't been able to meet that cap of 6 participants. Any concerns of this grant going well together since we've only had 1 or 2?
Yeah, Heather and I have actually had some discussion about the juvenile program. It is something that we're thinking of possibly changing. Heather and Kurt have been working to move the diversion program over to Heather. I have had multiple talks with her. Is she going to be okay? Or is this too much for her? And the juvenile program is something that we're thinking that may not be needed as much as it was originally thought was needed in this community. Her OJJDP grant does end this October and September 2025. So that's something that we may not apply for after that. As you know, the OJJDP grant, we did change the scope in that to kind of open it up a little bit more for juveniles that don't quite fit this direct treatment piece, but it has some other pieces involved. But it is something that we're talking about, and nothing's been decided at this point. But we are completely aware of the numbers that she has, and I don't feel like the state grant is at risk at all. And at this point, I don't feel the federal grant is at risk at all, because we're being very transparent with all of them. And when we have to submit the application, numbers are involved, and they are completely aware of how many we're running in our program. I believe if they had a big problem with it, they would have let us know, and they wouldn't have funded us at the 6 that they funded us at. So no, I don't have any concerns at this point, but it is something she's looking at possibly changing in the future.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Bailey? Entertain a motion for 14, please. Then
I move that we approve item 14 as presented. Second.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Bailey.
Thanks, Gary.
Item 15, present for approval, utility license for Tamara and Gary Browning on County Road number 33, Hart Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the northwest quarter, section 27, township 15 north, range 74 west. Rob, good morning.
Good morning. This is for a gas line to go under Harvey Roberts so they can have gas on to their property that they're building a structure on the west side of, or east side of our roads.
Any questions? Entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we approve item 15 is presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 16, present for approval, approach license, excuse me, for Tamara and Gary Browning on County Road number 33 Hart Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in northwest quarter of section 27, townships 15 north, range 74 west. Rob.
So approach license off a hard road to get to their property.
They're gasoline.
Yeah. Any questions? I did a motion for 16.
I move that we approve item 16 as presented.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carried. Continuing the Rod Fisher Show, 2017, present for approval, approach licenses for Woody Gun Park on 4511 Bluebird Lane, Wyoming, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the southwest quarter of section 1, township 15 north, range 73 west.
So, Mr. Lamar, where his property, house is up off of, Bluebird, when he basically to get to Bluebird, he has to back out of his driveway. And there's trees there, so it's kind of a blind access, and what he wants to do is, kind of put a circle drive in so they can circle out, so basically he's adding an approach to the, west end of his property. He's got one on the east end, he's adding one to the west ends, more for safety.
Any other questions?
Does this include the corner lot?
No, it's just
Just his, okay.
just his right there,
Yeah, I get his point right
yeah.
there. Absolutely.
I entertain a motion for 17, please.
I move that we approve item 17 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 18, present for approval, approach license for Mortensen Construction for the operation and maintenance facility on County Road 61, Fetterman Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the northwest quarter of section 25, township 23 north, range 75 west.
The next 8 are basically for Mortensen Construction. So the first one is for an access off of Fetterman Road to their operation and maintenance facility.
Any questions? I entertain a motion for 18.
I move that we approve item 18 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Carries. 19, please.
The 19 is for approach license for their lay down yard on the north entrance off of Fetterman.
Any questions? Entertain a motion for 19.
I move that we approve 19 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. I'll put it in lady. I'll read 20. Present for approval, approach license for Mortensen Construction for the lay down yard south entrance on County Road 61, Fetterman Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the northwest quarter of section 25, township 23 north, range 75 west.
Yeah, lay down yard on the south. And I have looked at these post lights and stuff, everything is. Ask them for some.
I move that we approve item 20 as presented.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing that all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. 21, present for approval, approach license for Mortensen Construction for the TE 74 access road on County Road number 61, Fetterman Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in lot 3, section 31, township 23 north, range 74 west.
Questions?
And entertain a motion for 21.
Same game, different spot.
Yeah. 74.
I move that we approve item 21 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 22, present for approval, approach license for Mortensen Construction for the T 75-68 access road on County Road 61, Fetterman Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in lot 4, section 31, township 23 north, range 74 west. Any questions for Rob? Any motion for 22 then?
I move that we approve item 22 as presented.
Second,
Moved and second, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 23, present for approval for licenses. Approach license for Martin Construction for the T8081 access road on County Road 61 Fetterman Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in lot 4, section 31, township 23 north, range 34 west. Any questions to Rob about it?
No, I have several questions. on this. No, I move that we approve item 23 is presented.
Second.
Moved and second, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carried. 24, present for approval, approach license for Martin Street Construction for the T87 to 85 access road on County Road 61 Fetterman Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the northwest quarter of section 7, township 22 north, range 74 west. Any questions? No, any motion for 24?
I move that we approve item 24 as presented.
Second,
We moved and second, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 25, present for approval, approach license for Martin Construction for the water extraction facility entrance on County Road 721, Palmer Canyon Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the northwest quarter of section 17, township 22 north, range 74 west. Rob, anything to add to this?
This is basically, as you notice, the different road, but same area that goes for access to Wheatland 3 Reservoir. So they can put water to use on the roads.
Any other questions? I can entertain a motion for 25 then, please.
I move that we approve item 25 as presented.
Second.
Moved and second, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Rob, appreciate it.
Thanks for making payroll for the month.
Right.
Item 26, accept rules and
Direct
direct the clerk
To advertise.
advertise the Albany County Property Tax Refund Program and the rules promulgated to administer the program to the Albany County Treasurer's Office. And then I'm gonna get rid of the direct the county treasurer to formulate a process.
And add on set public hearing for 45 days after advertising, but it'll be July 18th.
Set public hearing for 45 days. That's July 13th. 18th.
Your second meeting in July.
Okay, thank you. Tracy, please.
All right. Thank you for allowing me to make that change. I did completely forget we had to advertise rules. So thank you for that. So in the previous meeting expressed concerns about whether what the options could be with a lowered assessed valuation or maybe perhaps lack of budget to do this program. So in section 6 of the draft of the rules, section 6, little I, we made in years where assessed valuations of properties in Albany County declined or due to budgetary constraints. This program is unable to fund it. The Board of County Commissioners may choose to reduce allowable refunds or eliminate the program until such time where the funds can be allocated. This determination will be made not later than the deadline for the adoption of the annual county budget, which I figured is the best time to include that in there. So that gives you options if there is a decrease in revenue to not fund the program. The other changes in the rules, from what was originally presented is because of the legislative changes, I did change the dates that were reflective for due dates, such as the application be due the first Monday in June is now the first Monday in September. Along with that, though, that is generally Labor Day, so I did put the provision in there for if a holiday, we would accept the next business day by 5. I also changed the percentages. The program originally was 3/4 of the median income for the county, and legislature up that to 125% of the income. The application availability, I do believe I will need to change that date, given section 6. Because the application,
would be available April 15th, but that would be before you approve the program. So I think I will kick that back to June 15th, if that's agreeable to everyone, or maybe July 15th, even because of the budget when it's approved. And then one final decision that will need to be made is I plugged in for the asset test to be 150,000 to follow the state's program, and you can change that if you want to. And far as the budget, the other concern was I have 80,000 in there, but with the change in the income guidelines, that's unsure of how many more people are going to qualify. These were based on last year's approvals and then using the 22 taxes for those same people that were approved last year, that there might be additional people that are approved based on their income eligibility. And I'll answer any questions.
And Chrissy, letters go out to the individual homeowners to let them know that they qualify.
If they were in the program, applied for the state program last year, they get letters automatically, yes. We don't know if they qualify because we don't do income taxes, obviously, so we wouldn't have any way to notify those that
May
potentially,
qualify.
yeah.
Okay.
But you did go out the weekend and talk to people.
We did. Chelsea and I, we attended the Veterans Benefit Fair that was sponsored by AARP on Saturday, and we passed out pamphlets and we passed out applications for the state-run program. Last Wednesday, I also did a talk shop with Eric Henderson to get the information out about the state program. And I would also like to do that for the county program if possible. Well, if it's approved now, it'll be July. We're looking at for the final approval, but is there any other concerns maybe that I have not yet addressed on?
Could you give a ballpark figure going up to 1.5? Is that double 86? So is that like 170,000 to the budget? Where you think that would be a fair idea about that?
For up to 120,000,
Or the,
double 160.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair because that's about what the percentage of the income increase kind of could be.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's no way of knowing. Some people, I do know some people that do qualify, but they just are too proud to apply. And I keep nudging them, but they don't want to, but, so it's unclear, like I said, that but 160 would be more than fair in there.
Just trying to hold a budget spot for this program. If this is approved.
And right now, the increase I have factored into the property tax collections is using 8.5% increase in assessed valuations. I do believe, I don't think, oh, Chelsea is online. I believe Chelsea was had a little higher percentage, but with uncertainty of how the state assessed is going to come in, I kind of backed it off because I'm also very conservative and never want to short us money either. And so that increase was about 700,000 to the general fund. So this, I feel could just come right off the top of that before we start using it for additional sources or means.
Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion for item 26, please.
I move that we accept the rules, including the changes proposed today, and direct the county clerk to publish these rules and set a public hearing for 45 days, which will be July. Second.
Then move to second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Chelsea, for putting this program together, and Kayla, and whoever's been helping with it, Jennifer. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
27, present for approval, memorandum of understanding through the Board of County Commissioners and the County Albany, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Sheriff's Office and University of Wyoming Athletics Department for law enforcement services. Sheriff, I see you on. I can't hear you, Sheriff Appleton, if you're trying to talk, you're muted.
I can step in for him.
Okay.
He's not available. So this is the contract that we do every year where the sheriff deputies provide assistance or law enforcement assistance at football UW football and basketball games. So this is the contract for this upcoming year.
Any questions? Entertain a motion for 27 then.
I move that we approve item 27 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer. Item 28, present for approval, request for proposal for update of Albany County Community Wildfire Protection Plan. I believe that's going through.
Commissioners, we're gonna put this out for bid. This is a periodically revise our community wildfire protection plan. We received a grant for this, it's a 50/50 match. Because the grants department has accounted for that matching funds. In their grants monies this year. So what this basically is we periodically have a contractor come in, evaluate communities at risk for other mitigation, and helps us game out mitigation suppression strategies for those communities. So this one is a little bit late. Last one was in 2012. We've applied for many grants in the past and been combined with moving forward on this one, and so get the ball rolling.
Any questions? I'd entertain a motion for item 28.
I move that we approve item 28 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jack. Really appreciate it. Item 29, present for approval contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Attorney's Office and Taylor Oak Legal LLC for temporary professional legal services. Jennifer.
So I actually made a mistake when we were changing the agenda items. I need to remove this item.
Item 30, present for approval, resolution 2023-010, resolution proposing the Britannia Land Exchange, USDA Forest Service Project number 63414 in the Medicine Bow National Forest. There it is.
I know that all the commissioners have received numerous emails concerning the Britannia Land Exchange. I believe it's very important to oppose this land exchange for numerous reasons. About 20 years ago, a land exchange, including this parcel, was attempted and was dropped from the outcry from the public. Today, there too is an outcry against this land exchange. I have received the emails, in-person comments to save this piece of public land. The resolution worked with our county plan and runs adjacent to other public lands, creating a sanctuary. I personally have not spent time hunting in this piece of property, but understand the country is beautiful, rough, and wild. It's custom made for bighorn sheep, mule deer, and elk, along with a wide variety of other wildlife so important to a healthy ecosystem. And this should stay available for we the people as it was intended when U.S. Forest Service land was set aside. Adjacent landowners do not support this piece of public land becoming private. The Wyoming Game and Fish opposes the land exchange as there is limited public land in that region of Albany County. Wyoming Wild Sheep Foundation also opposes the land exchange. Backcountry hunters and anglers too oppose the Britannia Land Exchange. Platte County commissioners oppose the land exchange as well. The resolution opposing the Britannia Land Exchange speaks loudly to the importance of keeping land for its original purpose set down by the Forest Service, not for convenience and ease of management. Our public lands are under attack. We must work diligently to ensure the beautiful places are retained for future generations. Hold on to the land so additional access is possible in the future. Once the land is gone, it's gone. Please vote to approve resolution 2023-010, resolution opposing the Britannia Land Exchange in the Medicine Bow National Forest to protect unique and sprinkled public lands. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Commissioner Barron.
Just a comment that, Terry's correct, we've received a number of emails and correspondence from people, and I can't recall anybody being for this. I don't remember seeing one, and I could be wrong. So,
I will say that I did contact, Rocky Mountain Elks, and they are not making comment on this as they have a conflict or believe they have a conflict with this, but they're just saying.
And sure, you bet. Your name and whatever you'd like to tell them.
Yeah, my name's Guy Litz and I'm on the board for the Wyoming Backcountry Hunters and Anglers and just coming in to support Commissioner Jones's proposal. Backcountry Hunters and Anglers dislikes this because there's a net loss of public land with this exchange. Also, this is an important bighorn sheep hunting area, and hunters have traditionally counted on public land access via private property landowners granting access to the land via their property. If this land exchange goes through, there just won't be any public land to be hunted. So this is something that BHA feels strongly about. We would like to ensure that this land exchange does not go through for future hunting opportunity, to enable future hunting opportunities.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And just my 2 cents on it before I read the resolution, that also, it also strands public land. Additionally, so there's BLM sections in there that would not be accessible to the public. And as a person who grew up on public lands, hunting and hiking and enjoying public lands, Resolution 2023-010 reads, resolution opposing Britannia Land Exchange USDA Forest Service Project number 63414 in the Medicine Bow National Forest, whereas as an interested party, Albany County received notice of the proposed Britannia Land Exchange USDA Forest Service Project number 63414. Whereas the entirety of the federal parcel being considered for trade and all but approximately 124 acres of the non-federal parcel being considered for trade lie within Albany County. Whereas with the exception of approximately 178.93 acres, the federal parcels being considered for trade are contiguous parcels. Whereas the non-federal parcels are more widely dispersed, and with the exception of approximately 40 acres, the non-federal parcels are contingent to existing federal or state public lands. Whereas the federal parcels contain habitat and topography that is not present to the non-federal parcels, and maintaining diversity of public lands is important to the citizens of Albany County. Whereas section 2.3.2B of the Albany County Natural Resources Management Plan, Natural Resource Plan states, Albany County's identity and quality of life are protected by conserving valuable open spaces and public lands and the services they contribute. Whereas the land use priority statement, section 2.3.3, subsection 3 of the Natural Resource Plan provides federal agencies should analyze and make management decisions that would avoid or at the very least mitigate negative impacts on state, county, and private lands and the associated uses of those lands within Albany County. Whereas section 4.5 of the Natural Resource Plan addresses land exchanges to provide they can be used to alter the intermingled distribution of public lands and private lands, allow more streamlined management, and create public access opportunities. Whereas if the proposed exchange is accepted, federal lands in Albany County will be reduced by 617.04 acres. Whereas if the proposed exchange is accepted, there would be a reduction of 493.074 acres of federal land in Wyoming. Whereas federal parcels B, C, and D consist of approximately 1,118.11 acres and are part of approximately 6,898.47 contiguous acres of Forest Service, BLM, and state of Wyoming public property. Whereas the proposed exchange was to occur, those federal parcels would be removed from the contiguous public property acreage, and 636.56 acres of BLM property would then be left as an isolated parcel. Whereas while the non-federal parcels do have public access, and currently there is not a public access to the federal parcels being considered for trade, future access should be considered as a possibility, and that future access could originate along the border of any of the contiguous 6,898.47 acres. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming resolve In section 1, that the foregoing recitals are incorporated in and made part of this emergency resolution by this reference. Section 2, that the proposed Britannia land exchange and associated reduction of the federal land in Albany County is not in the best interest of the citizens of Albany County. Section 3, that the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming are opposed to and formally object to the proposed Britannia land exchange USDA Forest Service project number 63414. I entertain a motion for that resolution.
I move that we approve resolution 2023-010. Resolution opposing the Britannia land exchange USDA Forest Service project number 63414 in the Medicine Bow National Forest.
Second.
Then moved in second. Any further discussions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. The last part of the resolution was read, passed and approved and adopted this second day of May 2023, the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming. Thank you so much for taking your time. Thank you, Commissioner Jones and Jennifer for writing up and getting this on the docket. Public comment ended or ends May 8th. So if anybody else would like to make a public comment, please go out to Britannia Land Exchange. You can Google it and you can make a public comment online.
Oh, because I thought it was, yeah, and maybe it was the. Anyway, it's close.
It's close.
Close to 12, yeah. Awesome, thank you so much. Item 31. Present for approval, letter to Open Gov Inc. to terminate the software service agreement dated June 5th, 2018, and direct the county attorney's office to sign. Kayla, please.
So this OpenGov was something that came about in 2018, I believe. Yes, June 5th, 2018. It was supposed to go on the website in order for us to put our financials out there. Because of our accounting system, it couldn't integrate, so it was very labor intensive on Jackie's then staff, and Tracy's staff, might have been Linda then, actually, but either way, it kind of went by the wayside. With all the funds and everything that we have, it was not something that could be undertaken, so it kind of just sat there. And now we're up at renewal time and we are going to terminate that contract so we can continue to not pay for something that we're not using. And hopefully with the new ERP system that goes through, we'll have a way to be able to put that information out there for the public in a better, more accessible way. So this is what this is.
Thank you, Kayla. Any questions, Commissioner?
No, I just want to know where the firecrackers are. We're finally getting rid of this. I know, trust me, we kind of all feel the same way, so.
Entertain a motion for item 31.
I move that we approve item 31 as presented. Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 32, present for approval, engagement letter between Albany County and Carver, Floric, and James CPA for auditor services for the year ended June 30th, 2023, for services not to exceed $47,000, and direct the chairman to sign. Kayla, please.
So this is just our engagement letter to state that Carver, Floric, and James is going to come do our audit already. I feel like we just got done with one, but we're starting back up again. I know Bailey and Amanda are really excited. I'm sure Sunny and Tracy are as well. But this is just our engagement letter so that we can move forward with getting our information to them and basically getting the audit started again.
Any questions for Kayla? 32, if there are no questions.
I move that we approve item 32 and in addition direct the change this letter.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 33, award the 2023-2024 County Commissioners Initial Scholarships. And the names are Catherine McIrvin, Christian, who will be attending Laramie County Community College, Christian Taylor, Laramie County Community College, and Braylon Fowler, attending the University of Wyoming, and the County Commission Scholarship will be $500 per semester, $1,000 for the academic year, and will be in addition to the Hathaway Merit Scholarship. County Commission scholarships will necessarily reduce the students' need for financial aid, including need-based awards through the Hathaway program, and can be applied for the second year. Is that correct? Is that?
Yeah, so the renewal scholarship is happening. It happens a little bit later because of, you have to wait for transcripts to come in for those kids for this for their first year in college, so then they can apply for the renewal for 1 year, so that'll be coming probably the first meeting in June, I think, is when they probably will, hopefully depending on when the board can meet. Possibly the second meeting, but yeah, so.
Thank you. Any questions or any motion for item 33?
I just have a comment. I think it was great that we had so many qualified applicants. It's nice to see that, and I hope that encourages other people, students down the line to apply for this scholarship as well. That being said, I move that we award the 2023-2024 County Commissioner initial scholarship as selected here by our committee.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 33A. Court appointment magistrates.
Yes, so Judge Sanford pursuant to Wyoming statute 59210, which allows for the appointment of part-time magistrates within the county. He would like to submit the name of H. Michael Bennett as a part-time magistrate for the county. And then if this board were to approve it, and your options are to either approve or reject that name. If it is approved, then the circuit court will go through the process of appointing Mr. Bennett as a part-time magistrate.
Awesome. Commissioners, any questions for Jennifer? If not, I entertain a motion for 33A.
I move that we approve item 33A as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, thank you, David, from the floor. Item 33B, the Wildlife Program. Bailey, please. Thank you.
So this program, we've actually taken advantage of a few times. There's one time that was split between the library and the fairgrounds. I think the most recent was this building. And they don't like, one of the questions is, have you received funding from this before? So they don't like to fund every year for it. So we did try to put an application last year for the fairground. I believe it was the main building, the main activity building, and then one of the barns. And it was turned down. The reason they told me that they turned that one down is because they had a bunch of other new applicants. So they're trying to kind of spread the wealth a little. The application or the grant is only for $25,000. It is a 10% match. And it does require what they call a wildlife energy audit. And that's something that we just work with WEA to get that completed along with our application. So what I'm wondering from you all is, would you like to pursue this application this year? And if so, which building?
So commissioners, just to give you a little heads up, when we went to do the carbon emissions, the two largest buildings usage about $4,400 a month in electric costs for the detention center, a little over $4,700 a month for the courthouse. It would seem that if we could get that to happen in one of those two larger places, then we would make the most bang for our buck.
We could really try. It is only $25,000, so we do have to remember that.
Right.
Rob, do you remember how much yours was?
It was like 19 or something like that.
Yeah, just for this
That was
building.
a while ago.
About 2 years ago. Seems like it's might have been 20. It wasn't the full 25.
We didn't last, but it was.
It was for our shop.
I think the fair board, when they looked at doing all their buildings, it was like $55,000 a year or two ago, might have been 2 years ago.
But I mean, we can put an application and I mean, it would, help the cost of the courthouse or the detention center. The detention center. Doing previous work in the detention center with a different grant, it takes a lot more planning and I don't, Aaron is on. And it is something that we have to work with the inmates to do the energy audit and then come back and do the work. I don't know if that's something Aaron wants to do at this point, but I can let him speak for himself.
Sure about Lance, thank you, please.
Yeah, if we're gonna do lighting, I would like to do the detention center first. It is one of your higher cost buildings in terms of energy. We are at a place where we could, somebody come and do the energy audit, and then replace that lighting in there. It'll take a lot because there's a lot of lights, and like I said, it's on, that building's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that would be the building that I would say let's take a look at first. I know that the courthouse takes a lot of energy as well, so energy bills are high, but I would say definitely the detention center could be taken a look at. I don't know if $25,000 will cover all of it in the detention center. That I'm kind of clueless about, but that's a building that I would target in terms of, like I said, trying to get your energy.
Would 25,000 cover all of what's needed in the courthouse?
I don't know. I mean, I really have no idea.
I mean, it'd be nice if
bet
we
is-
could get a project
Yeah.
completed.
And we do have to have a 10% match on top of it, but again, 10% of 25 is not much. I just with the numbers I saw from Rob, 19 just being the shop alone, I don't think 25,000 will cover all of either the courthouse or the detention center. One of my other things I was just tossing around with Brady is, okay, well, the IT building 501, I think it could cover all of that, but then there'd be some left over. So I think you want to take advantage of it too. It just gets to be a little, and there's no guarantee. We were funded 2 years ago, so I don't know if we're going to get it this year.
I think one of the advantages to our shop area is that it was kind of simple it's all one spot, easy to get to, so there was no ton of labor involved in it, where like the courthouse and that would probably. A lot more labor.
When do you find out about the cost? Is after the audit? I guess when.
Previously you went out and you got your own bid, or you got your own estimate from.
Fremont, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of, this grant's just a little weird. I mean, it's just a Google form to fill out and, Rob did go out and get the estimate before. I believe the fairgrounds went and got the estimate before. So to bring somebody in and get an estimate, I don't think hurts. The applications are due June 30th, so it does give us about 60 days to get this one completed. But we do need to be more on the front end of it instead of on the back end of it because of that energy audit that they require us to do. But I could ask Roy to reach out to electricians and Aaron could maybe reach out to an electrician to just kind of get an estimate of what the fairgrounds might be and what the courthouse might be, and we could go from there if that's what you'd like to do. But it's up to you.
Just perfectly honest with you, in light of the raising of electric rates, this is silly not to do all of it that we can afford to do. We're spending $60,000 a year on electric in the courthouse. That could really be reduced. It's also 50-some thousand in Sheriff Avalanche Convention Center. That's real money, and this exists. And in addition to that, I have some experience with this as having done this at the downtown clinic. The ballasts don't need to be changed. The light bulbs don't need to be changed. I have yet to change the light bulb for 5 years I've had it.
Yeah.
And that's Rob's experience.
Yeah,
here.
we haven't
were
had to
talking
do
about
anything with any of these lights.
Well, and Wheaton has had it done. Long time ago, like when it first started, and it makes huge difference. I don't think there's any argument in the advantages of it.
Light.
But I do believe that you need to finish it. You need to get a project finished and then move on to another project. But if you only have a small partial and you only get and you have money left over, that's not efficient either.
The other thing with the courthouse itself, we will have to deal with SHPO. That is something that this grant requires us to communicate with them and make sure we're doing everything with them. The detention center doesn't have that requirement. Now, have I had an issue with SHPO before in this project? No. They did question one of the barns at the fairgrounds, which I thought was a little interesting. But it is just another hurdle that we do need to jump. But I mean, it's totally up to you, and or, I mean, one of the things you talked about yesterday was the lighting for everything. I mean, maybe it is something you guys decide to put a little more match towards this project, we're getting the 25, or hopefully we're getting the 25, and then you know, match the other 25, say it's 50,000, and just get the detention center done.
Right.
I mean, I think that's up to you guys on how you want to do it, but I know budget's coming around, this is something I usually put in my match budget. This is, yeah.
The application's going to do 30th.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we can supplement this grant if we were to be fortunate enough to win it. If it only took 25,000, but the detention center needed 50,000, we could add the other 25 and call it. They don't have any rules about that.
No.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, the minimum is the 10%, but I mean, I believe, when we did the library and the fairgrounds, it was a joint one, they each were able to match 10%, because they needed to do it to their projects.
Yeah. So commissioners, my advice would be either the detention center or the courthouse, and maybe getting an audit for both, and then bring it back.
Okay.
Budget next
I'll
week.
reach out to our contact, I know our they've had some turnover at the state of this department. I'll reach out to them and say, hey, we're looking at applying for this. We have 2 buildings we're looking at. How would you go about, like, can we get audits for both of these, or how would you like us to move forward with this? Does that sound like a good idea?
And that gives you enough time, Betty, for that June 30th
Yeah.
cutoff.
I believe so. I'll reach out to them this afternoon. I'll send an email that way, and hopefully somebody gets back to me, and we can just move forward from there.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Item 34, approved vouchers for April 2023.
I move that we approve the vouchers for April 2023. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no more business before the county commission. May 2nd, 2023. Call the meeting adjourned. Thank you all for your help. Thank you, Ben, for staying with us and getting us up on time. And hopefully, June 3 will be in the county commission, renting its chambers. I'm gonna hope it. Thank y'all. Have a great afternoon.
I wonder if family reunion.